you don't see a list here for people for one simple reason. People have all rights. Okay? You don't need to list them. All right. Now, but freedom of religion, that's been legislated, and court decided that that's okay for citizens. Freedom of speech, freedom of press, freedom of assembly and a petition, freedom from search and seizure. Okay? Double jeopardy, freedom from that, freedom from self-incrimination, just compensation for loss of property. Okay? Amendment, the Sixth Amendment is somewhat diluted, but you still have somewhat of a right to speedy trial, public trial, jury trial, impartial jury, notice of charges, confrontation of witnesses, compulsory process, you know, and right to counsel. Those are all legislative privileges. What a citizen does not have, he does not have a right to keep and bear arms. However, that's such a popular item that they wouldn't dare directly outlaw it yet. Okay? Not that they're not trying. But the right to keep and bear arms is not a right. It's actually a privilege at this point for citizens. Now, for people, people have a right. But citizens do not have a right. It's a privilege. There have been no cases on quartering troops in homes. We haven't gotten to that yet. But they've just decided to put it over in that, well, you don't have a right to resist quartering. Even though there's no cases, they put it in that column. You do not have a right to a grand jury indictment. So you don't have a right to protections from the government by way of the grand jury. That's why so many cases are conducted based on information. Okay? You know, the district attorney files an information. And then it goes to the magistrate, and the magistrate functions like a grand jury. He decides whether or not the DA can proceed. But, yeah, you don't have a right to a grand jury indictment if you are a citizen. Again, on a really serious case, such as murder, they always get an indictment. Why? Because I'm sure some sharp attorney is going to figure out that if he didn't indict, that he could come back and say, hey, you didn't indict. And that would become a big political fiasco, which they don't want. So they always indict on murder. Okay, and then you don't necessarily have a right to a jury trial in civil cases. So, and then you don't have a right to reasonable bail. And you don't have a right to not have excessive fines under the equal protection deal. You don't have a protection from that. Okay? How often do you see a let's say $100,000 or $500,000